He's been the envy of man for thousands of years. The Indians think of him as the messenger to the Great Spirit, the transcendent symbol of flight whose beauty and grace has inspired within us a longing to fly with him and beside him, to share his spirit, his dominion, and his freedom. In emulating much of the eagle's symmetry and harmony, man has resolved his yearning to soar. By becoming the lifeblood of a sailplane, refining its performance with water ballast and sculptured fiberglass, man has a craft capable of flying even further and even faster than the eagle, powered only by the sun and the wind.
Hi, I'm Cliff Robertson. I've been a pilot for many years, but a soaring pilot for just a few. Soaring is flight in its purest form. It's just you and your wings, no engine and no second chance. Piloting a power plane is like acting in the movies. If you make a mistake, your engine can usually pull you out. Take two, go around, back up. Not so with soaring. Soaring is like acting in live theater, and when the curtain goes up, you're committed. Your only backup is your training and your talent. In soaring, nature is the playwright, and just when you're sure of your lines, she changes the script. But that's her prerogative. She's nature. And you and your wings must bow to her whims. She is a mistress of many moods, and you are a guest in her firmament.
Like most athletes, the sailplane pilot is curious to see who can fly the fastest or the furthest or the best. But in soaring competition, there's another element, the weather. 19 of the world's best sailplane pilots have been competing for the past 5 days in one of gliding's most prestigious events, the Hitachi Masters of Soaring Championships, being held at Estrella Sailport in southwest Arizona. It's been an interesting week so far with strong but fickle soaring conditions. Pilots have flown task up to 285 miles at average speeds of almost 90 miles per hour. On other days, thunderstorms caught sailplanes in their downwash and forced them to the desert floor. America's Erik Moser is in the lead after the 5th day of competition. Competition director Bob Siemens briefs the pilots.
Yesterday, I enjoyed it very much. Start time.
Behind Erik, the youngest competitor in the contest, in second place is Ingo Renner, a soaring instructor flying for Australia who spends about 1,000 hours each year in the cockpit.
Until 20 minutes after that grid time.
Windmill engineer Stig Oy from Denmark is third.
Covers all turn points.
British airline pilot George Lee is currently in fourth. Soaring instructor Brian Spreckley, also British, is in 5th place.
Here for a review of landing areas on the task course.
An American John Bird, an electrical engineer, is in 6th
weather
place.
picture, we've got a weak upper low still over central California. However, in the outlook, there's a developing trough along the west coast.
Once they know the day's weather forecast, pilots are keen to hear the task they will be expected to fly. Today's course covers 243 miles of desert terrain with 3 turn points that must be photographed in flight by each pilot to prove he was there.
Judy, we cover the airspace considerations.
Be advised, these restricted areas south of Gila Bend are live ammunition gunnery ranges, and a glider looks a little bit like a drone. Hit your turn point and get gone. Do not venture into these restricted areas. They're well south of the turn point.
I'll give you a time hack. 10, 22, 30, 27, 28, 29, hack.
The sailplanes here are designed to race in one class, employing the same wingspan and weight restrictions. Without the sky embracing their form, they appear a bit awkward being rolled into position on the launch grid. Fuselages balance on the tips of their 50-foot wings as crews prepare the ships for flight. An airframe so aerodynamic, the smallest specks of dust can cause drag and lower the sailplane's performance. Inside their wings, tanks hold water ballast to equalize each aircraft's wing loading, a ballast that pilots can release if soaring conditions weaken or prior to landing to lighten the aircraft's weight. With lost points on day 2, West Germany's Klaus Hollinghaus is not expected to win. But Klaus's triumph lies in the number of sailplanes here built to his design.
Riding now. Not yet, no.
What's your glide ratio measurements on it?
I was lucky that I'm not only designing gliders, besides this, I think I'm a reasonably good pilot. So I have the chance to talk with the best pilots of the world during the contests, and I feel what the glider pilots need.
Knowledge of whether the SW20B
Besides the results of the wind tunnel test, you always have to see how a glider has to look. And the air feels a little bit as your eyes. What is looking good, the air feels is good. Every time when he lost me, I said, well, I'll do a loop, then you see me better.
So while the ships have been honed to perfection and created equal, the pilot remains the unknown quantity. Race, creed, and color are irrelevant. Fame and fortune don't matter. Skill and luck make strange bedfellows. Youth is not an advantage. Age and experience go hand in hand. 33-year-old Erik Moser, 4-time U.S. national champion.
For me, this is really an exceptional time because we developed the race and Hitachi picked up on it and said, what a marvelous idea. So for me, this is like playing against my heroes, Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Joe DiMaggio and all these people, because that's what these people are. These are the cream of the cream.
4 times world champion, Ingo Renner.
I just fly for fun. I fly for fun, and every flight is a great deal of enjoyment. However, winning is good fun in itself.
Smile at me. Come on, smile.
Winner of last year's Hitachi event and past world champion Doug Jacobs.
What soaring has done is provided almost total release from what I do all day. There's a lot of pressure in my job and a lot of tension in what I do, and what soaring does is take you away from all that completely.
Current world champion Brian Spreckley.
Unless you can relax, you can't make the right decisions. And I noticed over the years that most of the guys who won didn't get upset about anything. And they were mostly fairly relaxed. And I thought, this is obviously very important. And put a lot of effort into being relaxed about it.
Stig Oy, past world champion.
It's interesting to see how much is possible with these modern gliders we have now. Actually, we're using solar energy in a very direct way to keep airborne. That's fascinating, but that's possible.
The heat of the southwest desert can be mercilessly cruel. And while the sun scorches the Earth's surface, temperatures can reach 120 degrees. As the day heats up, a dust devil is born. Ground temperatures increase and trigger thermals, creating many tornadoes that are intimidating from the ground, but that will afford violent energy that can be harnessed and ridden to great heights. This vicious core of rising hot air can destroy, or it can bestow a wealth of altitude.
Crewing is moral support. Having a crew helping you and being on your side is a great advantage to a pilot. He has someone he can bat ideas off of. He can have somebody even barks or bites at if he needs to bark or bite at someone. The tension in one of these races can get a little overbearing at times. You're the pilot's sounding board. He'll put out ideas. You'll fire 1 or 2 back. He'll process them and say, no, that's not what I want to do, or yeah, that sounds good, or Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And this kind of support gets a pilot in the right frame of mind for flying. When you're flying against this caliber of pilots, you have to have your strategy down, and it's the crew's job to help support that attitude, keep the pilot in an up frame of mind, and make sure that the airplane's ready for this type of intense competition that he's getting ready to go into.
Charlie.
I don't know how he psychs himself up to fly or how he gets himself ready. I'm really not aware of how he does that. He just gets quiet.
Open, close.
At last, you've left behind the tension and tumult of the launch line. You look around and flex your wings. A jam session of sailplanes jangles nearby, following the form of a thermal. Now comes that adrenaline rush. The start gate is opening. The start line is defined by two aligned chords, which strike an imaginary line across the airfield. This enables the gatekeeper to accurately mark each contestant's start and finish. Pilots identify this line by a set altitude and ground reference.
John?
Spotters assist the gatekeeper as the start times are recorded.
Echo Mike, proceed.
I better come in behind 39 Papa.
Roger.
Echo Mike, 3, 2, 1, mark.
So 48 should be south.
Almost on the line is 48.
48 for a start.
Who's after 48?
Juliet 2, 1, mark.
Good start, 48.
Yankee Victor, we're approaching the gate.
Timing is all. Starting too early can mean flying an underdeveloped lift. Leaving late runs the risk that soaring conditions will weaken as the day nears its end. So each pilot must choose his moment to go through the start gate.
Okay, this is Juliet Delta, John. Juliet Delta on the line.
Got 3 somewhere.
Into the white now. Whiskey King.
I got him. Okay, here he is.
Got him, John.
And then it's simple. The fastest one around the course wins. Today, several pilots had close starts, which had sent them out on the first leg in squadron-like formation. One course line, but the weather dictates many paths. Thinking their own thoughts and making their own decisions begins to separate the pack. Flying speeds of up to 150 miles per hour quickly eats up altitude, but forward speed is of the essence, during which a thermal is merely turbulence or a helpful bubble of lift en route. So how far will a pilot glide before he begins to feel too close to the desert floor? He's racing forward and putting the miles behind him, but he knows he'll eventually have to pull back and circle for lift. Riches in soaring are measured in feet. 1,000 feet per minute up is its own reward. He will stay just long enough to milk a thermal of all the altitude he can and move on. In soaring, unlike most sports, pilots seldom measure their progress by watching the competition. Of two pilots flying side by side, neither knows who leads because often neither knows which went through the start gate first. Ingo Renner is well ahead, even though George Moffat is there beside him.
A man against man, I don't believe in that because it's an individual sport. Man against nature, that's a real challenge.
A challenge that draws him, frustrates him, eludes him, and then one day rewards him. Just enough to let him know he can win sometimes. Just enough to keep him coming back for more. Is soaring the last frontier? It can never be entirely vanquished, but the pioneers persist. Stigoi.
It's a challenge every time just to stay airborne. It's a one man's fight against nature to do something which is not meant. That's very challenging, I think.
Brian Spreckley, in 5th place, takes a daring, calculated risk on the last leg. Finding himself low near a ridge, he has left a weak thermal. He gambles that the westerly wind will produce sufficient ridge lift to help him out of his predicament and put him ahead of the pilots forced to spend time in thermal.
Once you actually get going, you can only really fly on your own decisions. It's no good using anybody else. And you have to get the confidence in yourself that the decisions you make are good ones. And if you can make the right decisions, in a competition you win by it.
There is inhospitable terrain on either side with nowhere to land. Suddenly, there's lift. But where there's lift, there's inevitably sink. He can lose altitude just as quickly.
I think I'm in love with soaring because I haven't found in any other sport the same sort of challenge that I can get with myself.
His gamble has paid off. Spreckley is within gliding distance of the finish line. John Bird's decisions served him well.
Once all airplanes are equal, then it really belongs to the pilot who makes the best decisions. The decisions are really the important part. Which cloud to look for, where to look for lift, how long the thermal, what speed to fly between thermals. You make decisions every minute, or at least you better be, or you're not doing your job. It's a mental sport more than a physical sport.
At this point, he is in contention for a position within the top 5 and on his way home. Erik Moser was in the lead at the beginning of today's race. His late start has put him 40 miles from the finish line in the Hitachi Championship. The conditions are weakening, and he is now faced with a critical decision. Estrella Sailport lies straight ahead, but between Erik and home is cool, moist farmland that often drains the air of lift. He might have just enough altitude to cross this stretch of irrigated land, but in his judgment, more likely not. He elects to veer left, off course, and take a safer, albeit longer route. Erik feels that the desert floor to the north will still be warm enough to generate the lift he needs to get home, but it's late. As Erik struggles to get back, the others begin to cross the finish line. Marko Kutunen of Finland is fastest around the course today, averaging 84 miles per hour, but the final standings in soaring competition are not determined by one winning day. A winner must fly well consistently, pace himself with nature, fly on or wind fast when the day is strong, and quarter when the day is weak. It's one-on-one with the elements and yourself.
I don't fight against my fellow contestant. I just fly for myself.
Flying for himself has moved Ingo Renner ahead of Erik and into first place overall.
Congratulations on a good flight today. It looks like you may have it here. We'll have official scores very shortly.
It's the luck of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes it interesting.
Pity for Erik because he has been second twice now.
He is 40 miles out.
No, he should be here. I was with him 40 miles out.
Yeah.
and I took the south route of the road, and he stayed more to the north. Maybe my one was better.
Erik knows that first place is no longer his.
You have to learn to take the good with the bad. It's just a form of getting yourself to a level where you can accept things for what they are, not for how you'd like them to be, and then going from there.
But he also knows he's made the best of a situation and brought it home.
As far as a form of racing, soaring is as pure and as perfect as you can get. You're really racing against yourself a lot because the ultimate challenge is to make a perfect flight.
That's all right. Well, I can't help it. I got tears in my eyes.
Why? It was a good race. I gave it my best. Congratulations.
Brian Spreckley has moved into second place overall.
Preliminary scores, I think you were pretty fast. You're going to be, as we say in America, in the money.
Well, very consistent flying. That's great.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Feel like
Glad to have you come.
Congratulations.
Thanks very much. Okay. That's a tough one.
Stigoi moves into a tie for third with Erik Moser.
When we're home, that's the key. First thing is get home and then worry about
Bringing it home today has secured fifth place for John Bird.
How do you feel about it?
I got to fly with Ingo Renner. What a thrill.
You know that? Congratulations. Well done. Very well. Nice going. Congratulations.
I'm just lucky, that's all. I'm the luckiest of them all.
He may modestly declare his victory with luck, but to the other competitors, he is a true master of soaring. In this elegant chariot, the pilot flies alone, using only the power of nature and his mind to fly far and fast. And when the day is done, he will have achieved a quiet victory, one that only the soaring pilot and the eagle will understand.